Good morning, I'm Randy, I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Today we're talking about the Q Acoustics 3020. Not the 3020i, the 3020. So if you're new here, please subscribe. We're giving away a free pair of speakers. The clips are 51M. I'll link that video in the description. If you'd like to sign up, please sign up, watch the video. What else? We're getting a lot of subscribers, and I really appreciate that. We've got some speaker shootouts, best speaker under 100, best speaker under 200. So lots of videos, so check them out if you can. Also, we're kind of getting into the holiday season, and I would ask you, if you are in a financial position to do so, to maybe consider giving a donation to, I don't know, a local food bank, or really the kids. The kids are what get me at this time. If you're in the US, Toys for Tots is an excellent organization. But we have a lot of international viewers, and I really appreciate that. I can't really talk about what would be a good organization there, but I would just go down to your local homeless shelter or food bank. And with that, grab some coffee and let's talk about the Q Acoustics 3020. All right, so these boys retail for $230 right now. They're not the most current version of this. That's a 3020i. But a way you can save a lot of money is by buying the earlier generation when it goes on sale. They're still available. They're on Amazon. They're a British company, and I like my British friends. So yeah, consider it. I mean, ELAC, if you're looking at the debuts, look at the first gen. But I'll have a video about that, because we have the debut B6.2s coming back in. They were gone, now they're coming back. But let's talk about the Qs. That's what I'm going to call them from now on, the Qs. And I know I'm not pronouncing clips right, and that's okay, because I don't like saying clips, because I feel like I have peanut butter in my mouth, and it's awkward for me. So the Qs, they come in a few different color schemes, which is kind of cool. So you can kind of tailor it to your taste. These are graphite. Why? Because I got a deal on them from one of the dealers that I know. So I don't really care about color. I do care about like the clips. And the reason I have the clips there is just kind of a reference for how big these guys are, because they're not that big. They're deep, but they're not that big. So they have a 5-inch aramid fiber woofer right there. Sounds good. And then a wide dispersion concentric 2-in-1 tweeter. I kind of looked that up, and we'll get into the sound later. But the cool thing about this price level is you start to get into some engineering if the company cares. Also, the thing about this price range is some companies, this is their entry level. The good news about those companies like Q Acoustics, ELAC, I'm trying to think of some others off the top of my head. Anyway, maybe Triangle. The good thing about those companies, when you're buying their entry level, you're getting some of their trickle-down technology. You're getting some of that engineering that they have on their higher level speakers. So I would recommend looking very hard at some of these companies where their entry level speaker is the $200 to $300 mark, rather than companies that has much lower priced offerings, simply because you're going to be getting the know-how and the knowledge base that they implement into their higher tier offerings at a lower cost. So, for what that's worth. These things are ultra braced. There's all sorts of marketing material on them about how they have a thicker front baffle and a thicker bottom, and they're braced well. And that's one of Q's, I'm going to call them Q instead of Q Acoustics. That's one of Q's things is They really believe in eliminating resonant frequency. Resonant frequency is when the box starts to vibrate. And everything has a resonant frequency. That's why people can break a glass with their voice and the glass breaks. It's because they're hitting that resonant frequency, and that's when things really start to move. Anyway, crossover frequency is at 2.9 kilohertz. I also think it's generally a good thing when companies are letting you know what their crossover frequency is. That means that they've put some thought into that crossover and they're maximizing the drivers. Specs, they go down to 64 hertz up to 22 kilohertz. They're 88 dB and 6 ohm nominal impedance. So soundstage and imaging, quite good. I think it has a lot to do with the concentric tweeter. There's a bit of a wave guide, and this has a fairly large 1-inch tweeter. And if you watch my sub $100 speaker shootout, I kind of talk about the size of the tweeter. In most instances, in my opinion, and I could be completely wrong, you could think I'm crazy, and that's fine. If you have the choice between a 1-inch or a 0.75-inch tweeter, go with the 1-inch. It doesn't. So, in my experience, the 1-inch tweeters are generally better than the 0.75-inch. So that's a little tip for you. Soundstage and imaging is excellent. I use my test track playlist, Wherever I May Roam by Metallica. Sounded like it was coming from the right and then kind of coming across the speakers. That's very good. And I was actually pretty surprised on how well these soundstage and how well they image, frankly. Placement is going to affect imaging, but I would say these have a pretty sweet spot as to where they can be placed and still image well. So let's talk about bass. All right, so 64 hertz isn't that low. However, the bass is really good on these. And when I say good, I mean it's extremely balanced, it's fast, it's accurate. I don't think this speaker's trying to, they're not making any pretenses about, hey, we're going down to 44 hertz, 64 hertz, and they do it well. And I would argue that this speaker does 64 hertz better than the KEF LS50, which is a $1,500 speaker, or was. It's been replaced by the LS50 Meta. It's rear ported, so you can adjust the bass by moving it closer to your wall. However, I found, first of all, these sound good closer to a wall or farther out from the wall. I found that they sounded excellent, bordering on remarkable, about 18-20 inches from the wall. They were very, very good. The cool thing about this speaker is you can buy it. Let's say you only have $230. You can buy it now and get away with it. It's very pleasant, it's very balanced, and then you can add a sub in later, which is going to fill out that bottom end frequency all the way to 28 hertz, whatever your subwoofer spec'd out at. And I would argue, and I said this before, I believe personally that a very good pair of bookshelves mated up with a sub is more economical and will sound better than an equivalently priced tower. I'll debate you on that every day of the week. All right, what else? I ran out of cards, so I just have a piece of notebook paper. Okay, bass. I tested this with all my tracks, but the Africa song, and this is by the Weezer version, is a real thick, full bass, almost to the point of it being overwhelming if you have a sub hooked up and things like that. This did that song actually fairly well, but the boominess of the bass on that song wasn't present with these. It was just very pleasing. Now, if you get a speaker that goes down much lower, then that song's going to sound very different. The bottom line is the bass on these is very well done for what it's spec'd out to. It's very well done. It's very well done. Let's talk about mid-range. So mid-range on these, in a word, is fantastic. It's got great tonality. It has very good voicing. The voices, male and female vocals, don't sound colored at all. So I would really consider this a neutral speaker. It sounds extraordinarily accurate, extraordinarily clear, detailed. It's cohesive. It's very clean. Even on the Klipsch RP600M, I would say that the upper end of the mid-range on that speaker feels a little bit boosted, and that's not a bad thing because it can be exciting. Female vocals sound excellent on the RP600M. I would just consider this speaker to have a more balanced mid-range than the RP600M. It's very well done. It's very clear. It's very good. Very good. Let's see. It's not recessed and it's not forward. It's just right there. It's good. On tracks that have a more forward presentation, such as Hurt by Johnny Cash, it's more forward. On tracks that don't have a forward, the way that they were recorded, it's very representative of the music. It's not, like, as I said before, it's not coloring the music. How it was recorded is how you're going to hear it. All right, very balanced. Let's talk about treble. If there's a standout in this speaker, I would say it's the treble. It's extraordinarily detailed, and it's not harsh. It's not sibilant. It's balanced across the frequency response. Uninvited by Alanis Morissette. At the beginning of that song, there's a couple things that song has going for it. It's got some traveling little, I think they're bongo drums, that kind of goes across between the speakers. But also the beginning is it has a piano, and it's the high frequencies, or whatever you call it, on the piano. It sounded like the piano was in the room. It's very good. Also, the Metallica Black album record. That record is recorded so it's really punchy on the bass and really high and crispy, very crispy on the top. And some speakers, if they are not balanced well, will seem harsh and almost grating at higher levels, 85, 80 dB, 85 dB. This handled that record very well. Very pleasing. Another thing about this speaker is it plays a lot, what I call larger than it is. Some speakers that are smaller in stature have a tendency to fall apart around 85 dB at a normal listening range. For me, that's right behind the camera, maybe 10 feet away. These were really solid, all the way really up to about 88 dB, and that's when I felt like their balance started to somewhat come apart. But they play, that's very loud. That's loud for me. I was surprised on how loud they can get and how well they could fill out the room. Okay, another thing about treble. Shoot to Thrill by AC/DC. Number one, what I look for when I listen to that song is for the initial guitar, which comes out of the right channel, not to be recessed or veiled. Some speakers have a tendency to almost muffle that initial guitar coming in, and that guitar is recorded, it's stepped back. So I want it to be clear, and then I want it to be kind of crack, you know, almost be like a that's what I want, and these did that very well. Also on that track, coming out of the left channel, you're going to hear a cymbal hit. That cymbal was rendered, we're going to call it rendered, extraordinarily well through these, because you could hear the cymbal. It was very clear without being overt or in your face. And then the decay of that cymbal, or how the sound reduces, was very accurate and very nice. And I should know, I used to play the drums. I took my son into Guitar Center. That's a store here in the United States, and they have instruments set up. We were looking at a pair of headphones. I like to give the gift of audio. Anyway, I haven't sat down in a drum kit for 20 years. And I sat down and I played them. And then he looked at me and said, I didn't know you could do that. That's kind of fun. So, what are my final thoughts? They're brilliant. They really are. I've got nothing bad to say about this speaker. You could say it doesn't have bass, but it doesn't say it has bass. It says it goes down to 60, whatever it is, 64. I don't think you can ask much more from a speaker. These are very neutral and give you what I would consider the artist's intention when they recorded that music. They're great. They're fantastic. At this price range, good speakers are going to really start to separate themselves from, you know, the sub $100 speakers and even the sub $200 speakers. I would say this is a big step up from a $200 speaker. This is a step up from the Sony Core series, for sure. The Sony Cores are incredible, but the Qs are so much more refined. They image better, they soundstage better. There's detail, there's air in the treble, very good air. And air is kind of being able to hear the room that the music was recorded in. Very good. They play bigger than they are. I'll show you the back. Using Metallica S&M2 to prop these up. So they have like offset binding posts. They're nice binding posts. And then a port. Ooh, they got the cardboard in there. I don't like it when they do cardboard, but maybe there's a reason for the cardboard. Anyway, they have a flange and then a cardboard tube. And you can see the back of the tweeter. All right. So, would I recommend these? Absolutely. Yeah, they're good. They're good. I wouldn't even say buy these if you can't fit other ones. This should be a strong contender if you're looking at this price range. And again, you're saving. These were retailing. These used to be $300, and then they've dropped because there's the new generation now. And these aren't an old speaker. They came out in 2017, I believe. So I think you're getting a ton of bang for your buck. I think you're getting a huge value on these speakers. They do have the 3020Is, which incidentally just went on sale for the holidays. I think their original price is $315, and I think they're down to $267. I'll link those in the description below. But I don't have any experience with those. I haven't listened to those. And sometimes, in the case of ELAC, especially on the debut B6s to the B6.2s, those speakers are completely different. I mean, completely different. They're voiced differently. It's not like the B6.2 is a better, improved version of the B6. It's different. So, with that said, I don't know if the 3020i is just a better version of this. I can't speak to that. But they are available. Reviews on these, very well regarded. CNET had a very good write-up on these. And I agree with everything that they said, except for that they don't have enough bass. they don't say they're having a lot of bass. They are what they are. I think this is a nicer, more pleasant, very similar speaker to the KEF LS50. It's just not nearly as harsh. I would buy this over the KEF LS50 regardless if I knew the price. Even if the KEF LS50 was $250, I'd still buy these. They're just better, in my opinion. You probably think I'm stupid, and that's fine. I am stupid. I can be stupid. Okay, so we talked about it. If you can, subscribe. If you can, give some money, give some food to your food banks, give some toys to the kids for the holidays. Be good. Be kind to people. It comes back to you. It really does. I don't know if I have anything else to say about these. We have a bunch of videos coming up. I have the KEF Q150s on their way. I have the ELAC debut B6.2s coming back to the house. I'm going to give them another shot. I'm going to listen to them a lot harder, maybe break them in a little bit more. We're going to do a gift idea. Gift ideas. It's the holidays. Gift ideas at certain different tier levels. May do a speaker placement. I had a request for a speaker placement video. Yeah, we're going to have some good videos. Keep coming back. I promise. You're going to have a good time. Check out my older videos. They're a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to go watch the first video I ever did and to see and hear how poorly it was recorded and how bumbling I was in my... I'm still bumbling. I still bumble. I trip all over my words. I don't cut this. I don't edit it. I'm still trying to figure out how to light myself without looking like garbage. It's a process, but come, be a part of that process. If you learn something, you might get some value along the way. So with that, I am Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man, and please subscribe and come on back to see the rest of my videos.